Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay and today I'm going to be talking about 5 reasons why I think you should play Star Wars Legion. Now, Star Wars Legion has been out approximately a year and a half, something like that, and I want to give some reasons why people who maybe considered it then but never quite took the plunge should maybe reconsider now, or maybe if you're just coming across Star Wars Legion for the first time because of the Clone Wars, maybe now is a good time to jump in. Now, I'm not claiming here that Star Wars Legion is the greatest game of all time, that there's no flaws, it's absolute perfection. Of course, that's not true. At the end of this video, I will lay out a couple of cons, but, you know, I do firmly believe that it is a great game, and now is a great time to actually take the plunge and get into it. So, if though at the end of this video you like the video, do press like, that really does help. If you're interested in Star Wars Legion, then, you know, this channel is all about Star Wars Legion at the moment, so I would really appreciate it if you do subscribe. So if you are new and you are considering it, then I do recommend actually, and I'm going to show you this, no, I didn't really plan this, check out my terrain channel. So I've got a different channel called Terrain Oddity. I'm going to be doing like Tatooine buildings and stuff like that. I have done some terrain on this channel, but I'm basically putting all my terrain over here, redoing it, doing the best that I could. And you know, I've got like long grass fur, desert ponds, rocky terrain, destroyed a Millennium Falcon for some terrain. There's all kinds of interesting stuff up there. If you are new, I would recommend that you check that out. I will also be doing a buyer's guide next week, so if you're interested in that, keeping a lookout for that. So let's get into the reasons, because I blabbed more than I usually blab there at the start of this video, and we'll get into the 5 reasons. So number 1, Clone Wars. I said it's a perfect time to get into it, and the release of the Clone Wars factions is essentially a good indicator of that. The Clone Wars factions, for those who don't know, when the game originally came out with the original trilogy factions. That's not easy for me to say, apparently. Whereas now we are getting 2 new factions, which are obviously the Republic and the Separatists. They are coming out in October. We don't have an exact firm release date. Basically, the boxes are going to come out now-ish, and it would be a great time to pick up the core set, or even 2 of them, and then just slow build into it, because, you know, these new factions are new, nobody is experienced with them, it's hyped up because it's new, so a lot of people are going to like them. The rules have developed further, so they're going to have like intriguing rules and good balance and all that kind of good stuff. So the Clone Wars really does make it a great time to jump in. 2 new factions, there's a lot of hype for the game because of them as well. Hype builds hype, which builds popularity, so it all makes sense that now would just be a great time as everything's ramping up to jump in. I mean, you can wait for the Clone Wars if you're interested in that, but if you think, oh, actually I want to play as like Luke, Leia and Chewbacca, yeah, jump in with the currently existing factions. There's nothing wrong with them. We've actually had a points rebalance, like everything is vaguely usable. Yeah, perfect time to jump in when the hype train is the perfect time to jump in. That's when you're likely to get all your games in and find out if it really is truly for you, as more people will be playing it. So the Clone Wars itself, good reason. So, and then the next reason I have here, this number 2 reason, not that these are in any particular order, is the competitive scene. So I was going to talk about Warhammer 40k and the competitive scene there, and how maybe it's been a bit lackluster. They've got the ITC, and you've got the Frontline Gaming guys sorting out that. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, 40k does have a competitive scene. It actually might even be busier, but would I say it's a quality competitive scene? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe if somebody plays 40k competitively, I honestly think those Games Workshop could probably do more. Whereas that's not really the case for Star Wars Legion. We actually have like official organized plays, what they call it, from FFG, Fantasy Flight Games, the people who make the game. This organized play, they'll give you rewards for going to your store and playing like weekly and campaigns and all that kind of stuff. And then we have big tournaments that are officially supported, and they're not just, because it's not just Games Workshop stores, these are your local stores will probably be hosting them, and you can always like go to them and ask and build tournaments up and build days up like that. But these tournaments are you'll have you might have like store tournaments, then you'll have national tournaments, then you'll have like continental tournaments. I mean, the names may escape me, but then you'll have like worlds. There literally is once a year a world championship that maybe not last year, but definitely going forward, people from all around the world are going to come to and try and get the number 1 player for that year. And that as a concept builds hype. It's a really good scene. Now you might be thinking, but Jay, I'm not that interested in competitive play. fine. But the fact that you can go to stores, probably like in the UK, if I really wanted, I could easily get 3 games a month just by going to a store and playing 3 games on a Saturday or Sunday or whatever. It just means that you can play games. And not everybody at these things, min-maxers, cookie cutter builds. There's a lot of people are just there to have fun, look at cool painted models and play games. So if you're interested in just getting out and meeting people and becoming social, then the competitive scene is actually a good thing. The highest end players that I've met have all been very, very nice people. Well, excluding Ellis, but we'll not talk about. I'm just kidding, Ellis. But you know what I mean. Like, most people are very, very nice, very friendly, and you'll not hit any problems if you go to like tournaments and stuff like that. It just means that the competitive scene entices more people because it's a carrot rather than say like a stick. So yeah, that's all good there. Number 3, and I'll be doing more of this, I mentioned it briefly, it's not an expensive game. Like, I have done comparisons before on this channel looking at the expense of, say, Games Workshop models to Fantasy Flight models, and really, truly, the difference in per model cost isn't that great. And that's across a lot of other companies. Like, yeah, it might be £1 here, £2 there per model. Really, that's not the main factor in cost when you look at full army lists. It's generally how many models you actually use. So if the model costs are about the same, it's how many models do you have to buy to have a full list. Now, 50 models in Star Wars Legion is at the very top end. I'm not even sure how you would get that much and still be within the points. 50 models is like really, really top. But often, and it wouldn't be unrealistic to see somewhere between 20 and 40 as being like the average, maybe towards the higher end of that scale. But the fact that it's not a shed ton of models means that the cost is quite low. You can keep the cost down if you can share core sets, for sure. That is the best way of doing it. As I said, I will be doing a buyer's guide hopefully next weekend. If are new and you're interested in maybe the Clone Wars or even current factions, maybe, like, I'm not saying wait for that. If you really want to go and order it for sure. Use my Element Games link if you're in the UK. I do get commission for that, basically. But because of the lack of model count, like each unit is like maximum 6-ish. The games, they're still like epic games, but you're not like flooded with 100 orcs or something like that. So it really does help keep the cost down. And I know, like, going forward, if you're collecting one faction, which I highly recommend, don't collect all 4 factions. That will like kill your, unless you've got loads of money and loads of like time. That's just to me insane. I'm not even trying that anymore. I was collecting all the factions. I'm not doing that anymore. But you pick one faction and you just keep going. You're probably going to have a release at most once a month, and that's generally between 20, 30, 40 pound a month. That's top end. The fact that we're going to more factions really is going to reduce that, as it's likely you're going to get one release maybe every other month. And it could just be a commander that could be like £15. It could just be a trooper unit, £20. £20 every 2 months. I mean, it's not expensive in comparison to a lot of the other games. So there's that. On the next one, number 4, on the hobby side of things, I will try and speed up a little bit. On the hobby side of things, it's getting better. This is number 4, the hobby of Star Wars Legion. It's Star Wars. A lot of people just love Star Wars, and understandably so. It's a really popular franchise. More of a Star Trek fan myself, but not everybody's perfect, I guess. I do like Star Trek, but the hobby side of the Star Wars game is getting much better. The quality of the sculpts is getting better. We are changing plastic into a hard plastic, so the model quality detail is just going to improve. They've got Star Wars Legion paints at this stage. We're going to have Army Paint have their own range of paints for Star Wars Legion, so you can just pick them up if you want. The hobby is now just, people could just pick up Star Wars Legion just for the hobby side of things, and I'm sure people do and don't even play that many games. Perfectly good reason, perfectly valid reason to just pick up the game and play if you're just interested in the hobby side of things. The hobby's good. It was always good. Now it's probably going to go from great to exceptional. Like it's getting much better on the hobby side of things. And the final point here is the community and online play. Now, the online play I shouldn't really talk about too much. It's not officially FFG supported, but there is a game on Steam. Generally, if you're going to buy it on the sale, called Tabletop Simulator, and there's a community of people who play on Discord, just because it allows you to play online against people across the world, basically, and there's tournaments and all that kind of stuff. It's not officially FFG supported. Generally, you should really buy the models. I don't know anybody who just plays on that and doesn't play in real life. That would be a bit meh, because if you've got the models, I feel like it's reasonably okay to play, not officially supported. But on the community side of things, well, there's bloggers, there's people who do YouTube that aren't me. Surprise, surprise. Podcasters, all these kind of stuff. The Discord, really good community. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description because it, as I said, is a really strong community. There's so much happening all the time that I don't necessarily follow it, but you know, your local community will probably be bustling at this stage, and Discord will be a great way to join that. So they're the 5 reasons why I think you should play Legion. Let's briefly talk about some cons. It's a 6 foot by 3 foot table game. That's quite a big space. Here in the UK, I'm in a tiny room. I couldn't play it in here, for example. I'd have to play it like maybe downstairs or in the other room. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It's still a big game. I mean, if you compare that to like 40k, Age of Sigmar, they're 6 foot by 4 foot, so not necessarily a massive comparison there. The games do take 2 to 3 hours. You're not going to pick up a game and play for 40 minutes. There are the little 500-point campaigns that take maybe like an hour and a half, but just keep that in mind. Time is if time is precious, you're going to have to schedule like 2-3 hours to get a proper game in. And tournaments are currently still using strength of schedule, which I won't go into detail too much here. I've got videos about it, which if you're a super competitive player, you might not like. The alternative to that is to just play more games. So all in all, I mean, I don't want to come across as a Star Wars Legion fanboy, even though I obviously am, but you know, I don't want to be just that fanboy. And they're my 5 main reasons why I think you should possibly play Star Wars Legion, and why now is a great time to do so. And that's the Clone Wars, the competitive scene. It's not an expensive game. The hobby is improving, and the community is fantastic. Yeah. That's it. I'm done. I'm off. I think Katie just bought me a sausage and egg, so I'm going to go and eat that. Have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Check out my terrain channel if you're interested in that going forward. And as I said, there will be a buyer's guide imminently on the channel, probably next week. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.